This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. So last session, we were dealing with the creation of the cluster with some third-party tools, right? So today we're going to continue the same thing, but with creating our own cluster, and that is where we're going to start now. So for that, actually, I was going through some internet and found this particular document. So I mean, kind of this YAML file seems to be working, but let's see. It's also like, in the Kubernetes main documentation also, they're telling you if you want to create your cluster using some config file also, you can do this. So ideally they're telling is if you're actually going with a load balancer, people are suggesting to go with this, then only um, the things might work seems to be okay. So but for this also we do require some certifications setup which are being done. Okay, if it is external etcd, okay, if it is etc external, so this also we don't want it, but for now I will just here what all the additional things we have: cluster configuration, API server, this also we don't want, cluster name also we don't want, cluster name we want, and endpoint is one thing we want. So controller manager, extra arguments, Kubernetes version, so networking, this is the quite important thing. See why in our case basically it is failing is it is unable to communicate between or it is unable to launch the network. Okay, so that is a major failure. Even if you go for a single node cluster, once after you create your cluster, then they are telling you they go and apply the CNI configuration. So this is where actually we are failing. So this, if you keep it as a part of, if we keep it as a part of the init configuration, the network part also, then it is going to work, it seems. So that is the only thing I found out as an issue. Okay, is what I'm seeing it. Okay, so let's take a look, and we will do that. Yeah. So what I'll do is I will just put it in. Try to modify these extra is let it be there. Is this really not needed? So if you put those, the additional cloud components will come into picture. That's okay. And cluster name, some, let's say demo one, and also I require servers. So servers, I will create 3 servers. Let it come down, and so we're going to put it into the load balancer. I already made one load balancer, but this load balancer is here it is. So here is the load balancer, and instances, it doesn't have anything, and health check is okay. Listeners, I'm making 443 listen on 443 and forward it to the backend node, which is 6443, and added the certificate also. So certificate, if you remember, so in the very starting of the sessions, we uploaded the wildcard certificate. I kept that. So this is where the major issue was happening. Okay, so it has to be HTTPS. It has to be a HTTPS port and having a valid certificate. Then only the things are going to work. So that's the reason I make a DNS record as well. So this is what I'm going to keep it here. So the load balancer is this colon 443 majorly, and Kubernetes version stable and all. This is okay. Let's take this and put it on one of the server and run it, and let's see. Spot is still creating. Okay, 0 of 3. Okay. Docker is already there. So here in the Kubernetes, so the prerequisites, kubeadm and all those particular tools, I'm just trying to install them. And so this configuration. Okay, done. And so now vi that config.yml file, and what is that YML file is this, and put it here. Now the quite important thing is, so this is the instance, right, 255. Now I have to put this under load balancer. So I'll be going to BDC. Okay, so go to the load balancer and go to the listen instances, edit instance, the first one, and save it. So I have to put this particular instance, and I'll go for and what is this guy is telling? You just run your this one by using config is equal to config.yml. And here is the place where we are getting the error. Let's see now. So now here is the error. Okay, the local host, it's actually telling 10,248. The port number is actually failing. Okay, local host. So I wanted to check this, but how do I check this now? At least now you're getting some response, right? Previously you're getting some timeouts. Now you're getting some responses. I will try to open another session. So SSH, this one, and so netstat hyphen lntp. So there is nothing created. It's 255, yeah, 255. But end of the day, we got the same error. Okay, no luck. Let's take a look. So scale already created Kubernetes. Yes, API is Harvard. Okay. If it is a normal one, so what do we do is yeah, control plane endpoint and start tk colon 43. Here's the same place it fails. Let's see. What is the status of load balancer? So it is saying in service, which is fine also. Why it's taking too much time? No, still same error. Okay, all right. So network ready equal to false. So this is the error. Okay. So for this error solution, so what we have to do is we have to go to the same documentation. So just followed with the some network installation. So there is no network actually. So you applied that. So but mkdir.kube and the cp/etc kubernetes/admin.conf file.kube/config. If you keep that, so kubectl will pick it up and kubectl gets by spots. Okay, so 443. 433 I have given. This is bad, right? 443 only, right? But how come it became 433 here? So vim slash etc kubernetes no, vim slash kube config. How come it becomes 433? So now it is telling certificate error. Unable to connect to the server with the certificate. kubectl ignore certificate. So seems you have an option. Something is not working. Okay, because on the command line I have given, right, the command to set up the cluster, here is a mistake, 443. And there is also a command kubemedium reset. For sure it will fail, we know that. But let's see. that's anyhow gonna fail. I would like to go with following this particular documentation as well. So what this guy is telling is so here he's using minimum 3 hosts of master servers he's making with root access. That's fine. Each master node with 2 CPU and 4 GB of RAM, which is okay. So a load balancer he's taking. Okay, so for access to Kubernetes API, it must be L4 in order to be able to use certificates automatically generated by KubeADM. It will be accessed by all nodes of, in our case, not using one of two LPs. To our, okay, this is fine. And okay, this is failing. So first of all, let's take a look that. So what the message is telling, message will tell the same thing, node this one. Now ns lookup, if you give this, it is fine. Okay, and but how come it is not able to resolve? Just give this. This is also working fine. Yeah. Now let's go and apply the kubectl. No, not working. Okay, so let me do one more trial here. Let me try this. So this guy is actually taking 3 master nodes, okay, which is fine, and every node he's actually setting up the network part. Okay, so we're also doing that, and install Docker, we're also doing this, and finally set up the Kubernetes tools. So these also we're trying to do, and after that he is making a YAML configuration. So the YAML configuration, he is telling that he's making so he's making a file. So here I would like to go with the other server. I would like to go with the other server, and so first I'll go with the edit instances, and also I'll go with the first edit listeners. I would like to edit. So here also I would like to give 6443. 6443, and so what he's doing here. So replace above host names with your load balancer. If you use single load balancer, you know to then you know to send the 2 SANs. I'm using 2 LPs. I put their host names as same for certificate. That's okay. Goes as API port 6443. Okay, whether he's creating a secure port or TCP forwarding, we need to check it out. Okay, it's a L4 load balancer. He's saying. Okay, so for access this one, it must be okay. One will be internal. Okay, so what I'll do is I will just go to the load balancer. I'll put a TCP, and no, TCP also, it has to be SSL TCP. Okay, that is what I have to. But if I use SSL here, the certificate is what the confusion is coming up. Okay. Okay. Okay, need to see. Let's go for 443, and you send it back to the HTTPS in the backend also, which is 6443, and here also I want to make 6443. So, and I already added my certificate. So done. So go to the instances, edit instances. Now I'll go with only putting second instance, because we already tried so many things on first instance, so we'd like to go with second instance and go to instances, and the second one, let me take this and go SSH, this one, and here the same story. Let's follow this guy documentation only. So he set the host names in our case, which is really not needed. This is the first command. Oh, that file is not directory. Okay, I think you are doing the same thing. VRNet filter. Yeah, he is putting the same thing on. So if you run this, so NetBridge, the IP tables has to give it equal to 1, so equal to 1. So that's what the major thing. So Docker is already there in our system, and I can go for this. Again, it is not copying properly. We'll just go here, and the next one is install kubeadm. So just take this much, put it there, and cool. And finally, start the kubelet. Okay. Now what this guy is telling is, hey, make a YAML file look something like this and put the certificate and things like that. Okay. So now this one, and this is okay, and our case is actually going to be is external CAS kube-master dot kube 06.tk. okay, and also the same thing is applied here. So this is the endpoint. I'm going to take this vi config.yml file. Let's see how can we do this. Let's see how it goes this time. Otherwise, I'll keep it aside. I don't want to waste the time on the session. Let's see how load balancer it is. It says in service. I doubt this. Yeah. So what this guy is telling is, in my case, the time drift in the master, which is okay. So then he restarted. That's the final some thing. Okay. So some questions. Okay, I'm experiencing same problem. Facing same problem. So it's not a bug. It's not start for some reason. I solved my problem in the old version. Okay, APIs are running on virtual interface, which is very mutable. This is the problem. This is the same error we are getting. Actually, the advertise address also we need to change it, it seems. So he's taking this particular one. So, but basically NS lookup, what we're doing, so cube, um, cube hyphen master dot cube 06.tk. So this is giving one IP address. I think, no, he's not even keeping that. And IP space, oh, he's keeping the local server IP address. And NS lookup of this one, it is actually not giving the answer. And it is giving, but authorized answers can be found, okay? So something like this, found from, no. So host of this one is giving the response. Yeah, this is the exact error we are getting. But this is old version. This is not our case. Okay, no. No. I think we might be still on the same error. I don't see. Should not take that much time there. Messages. Let it be. I don't want to waste the time anymore on this. I will take a look. But I'm wondering, so why this is happening? I don't see a problem actually. It should work that way. Hmm. And also VIM where law systemctl stop kubelet VIM slash var log messages. So also you're getting in the meantime some error. This is the major error. I know this. This is what the actual problem we're getting. Okay, it's this node not found is a secondary thing. But when I'm putting the load balancer, it's not able to identify the certificate. So that's where the certificate mismatch coming from the Kubernetes server to https:// cube master dot cube06.tk. Okay, now 6443. Here it is showing okay, but somehow my kubelet not able to identify that. Okay, so when it is doing this, it's actually getting this is the problem. And that is the reason it's actually not failing. I know this, that's what I was sensing. But when I do on the call, it is actually working fine. Oh, need to take a look. If I, no, that will not work. Okay. That is a major error. And that's the error, by the way. Kubedium, Kubedium init load API server load balancer. This error. This is something I'm thinking. Reconfigure kubelet if it is live. So first we'll set up a normal cluster. Then we'll put it to the load balancer. If it is working fine, then how do I change that? This is also something we can do, but still some work, some checking need to be done. Fine, I'll take a look. So not able to identify. So today I tried for some time. I thought actually I got some hope back on using the YAML file, it might work. Okay, so but yeah, so since we are here, I want to talk about the next thing is like, let's say you have a cluster and you want to choose a network. So which network we have to choose? Okay, so that is a quite important thing as well. Okay, so which network you need to choose? Okay, so how do you choose a network here? So choosing the network, you have different network plugins. Okay, so Kubernetes network plugins. Okay, when it comes to the network plugins, there are a lot of plugins available, right? So if you see the list, where is the list? So network plugins, cluster network, are installing add-ons. Here it is. You see this, so many plugins are there. Okay, the right side you can see, and even one by one if you go for, but which one to choose, by the way. Okay, so that also we have to decide. But whenever we choose a network, so we have to understand our requirement. So based on that, we are going to decide so which one we want. Okay, so for that there is a guy actually who does some testing on top of some famous network plugins. Okay, so and it gives a report. So based on that, we can, based on his case study, we can decide the thing. So probably I have some summit somewhere. Let me take a look. um, so some Medium web page, it will be. Hmm. Yeah, these benchmark results, I think it is IT next, not Medium. This is the guy. This is a nice documentation, by the way. I will put this in the, yeah. Okay, so he is actually comparing. He's actually comparing a. He's actually comparing a. Multiple network plugins, and also on different MTUs as well. What is an MTU? MTU is a very quite important factor when you actually go for a cluster and networking even, right? So what is network MTU? MTU stands for maximum transmission unit, right? So that means, so if you have maximum transmission unit is nothing but, so the size of the packet it can travel over your network is what that particular MTU means. Okay, so I think bytes or bits, whatever it is, the maximum packet it can transfer. And now if you're actually, if you put it on YouTube, you'll understand in a better way. But if you have a bigger size of packet, so then what it does is it is actually going to cut into pieces, and the pieces will be transmitted, and on the destination side it again try to merge those particular pieces. Okay, so that's what it's actually it's gonna try to do basically. So based on the MTU, okay, based on your MTU requirement, also your performance will change. It's a packet actually directly goes there, right? And for this benchmark testing, he's actually taking a very simple servers, and so he's having Supermicro 10 gig network, 10 gigabits, so network switch. Okay, so that's connected to the servers, and and again the VLAN framed with some 9,000. So if you go to the IP address of this one, so what Amazon is offering MTU, Amazon MTU is also is 9,001. Okay, so we need to think about if it is needs to be modified or something. Okay, so assume that, so it is a cloud and I don't want to change this, so then no, how do I do that? Because it's a part of server configuration and network configuration, we have to do that. So that's going to be a little bit pain in the cloud. If it is a normal your own data center, so probably you can, so you can change them in an easier way. Okay, so cloud basically, if you follow their standard values, it would be more better. Okay, so that's what the general understanding. And also he used Kubernetes 1.12 version on Ubuntu 18 version, and Docker running on Docker 17. So to improve the reproducibility, so he has chosen always to set up the master on the first node and a host on the, the host on the second part on the second server. Okay, and so this is achieved by, some performance results has been achieved by using some, or no, not, so he has achieved that by using the some node selector. That's okay. So this is fine, and so he actually going to publish the results. So, and these are the different plugins he has used. So there is a newer version also, we'll go there. This is the older version, this is 2018 doc. Okay, so we'll go there, and so these are the one. So now he has actually taken the plugins and installing it. So now if he's using he's using his benchmark testing and on MTU of the ViewNet. If it is using, if it is a ViewNet, and if your data is TCP, the performance is actually going to be, or ViewNet default and ViewNet Jumbo. There are two plugins it seems to be. So the Jumbo is actually giving much performance results if you see on the any of the layer, right? And different protocols he's trying. I think, yeah. So you just try to understand this way. This one is much. Here is the summary of the setup result. So basically, on the setup perspective, so Calcio is easy. Okay, and so Utar is actually is what is the logo? What is the smiley is telling? Very good, good, right? So that's where very good is not there for anything. I think, okay, it's all some work is there. That's fine. But out of that, so it's actually auto MTU. Okay, auto MTU on, okay, is on auto MTU is, and as well as easy setup is good with Flannel. Okay, and so that's where I think he has chosen this. So if you are actually going to with auto MTU, so then prefer Flannel he's telling. Okay, and when it comes to the security, okay, and he's actually going to encrypt the connection and make it so by using different mechanisms. And so here VNet is giving the encryption. None of these actually are provided encryption on that time 2018. And also network policies is possible on ingress. So if you are actually more looking on security perspective, so then VNet is the solution. Then the next one is the performance. Okay, so performance is basically you're getting the higher performance on the, at the maximum is bare metal first, and after that the network plugins. If you see the maximum one you're going for is Calico and Flannel, and even these is actually not having much difference. If you see 98198, actually 9813, 9844. So mostly all the three comparisons, so Calico and Flannel are kind of a winners here, right? It's almost. Now next one is UDP, that's also okay. Next one is HTTP traffic. HTTP traffic is also quite important for us, and Flannel is getting a little decrease, but still almost it's okay. And Calico is actually winning there. And if it is FTP and all, we'll use very less SCP, FTP and all this one. Okay, so and the results of that particular one is so who is good at what? Calico is actually good at so many things, and Cube router is also considerably it is good actually. We didn't observe, but Cube router, is also kind of good in almost everything it is telling. Okay, so in the overall data transfer, so who is actually giving better results is Cube router and Romana. Okay, but Calico is also going to be good in other than SCP. SCP we hardly use, so I don't want to consider that. So that is where if it is TCP and UDP traffic more, then it is Flannel. But today's application world actually we use more of HTTP. So HTTP in Flannel is little kind of decreased, right? So that's where it is. And whereas like this is a very important one, resource consumption. How actually the resources are being consumed if it is I mean, if it is, different, I mean, how these network plugins are also going to be pods actually, and which is good basically. So better results have been provided by this one, right? If you go for this is the RAM usage, and so RAM usage Calico is taking some 417, and Flannel is actually taking 380, and benchmark is kept, something like this. Okay, anything less than this is good, something like that. And the RAM also, CPU, the next one, CPU is Calico is having some less, and Plano is also having some less. Okay, so here mostly, so both the sides, who is good is Flannel and Calico, like, so CPU consumption is less, but there is a RAM consumption for that guy. So finally, if you just try to consume, just try to compare all the things like installation, security, performance, and resources. So who is the winner and what you are looking for more? So that's also quite important thing. Okay, ultimately it has all winners in every place, but still what you want. Now if you see this, so if you go for Flannel, security is bad, but you're trying to achieve resources consumption as less and performance is okay. But here if you go for Calico, and Calico, you can see that the installation is okay kind of thing, and security is also okay kind of thing. But okay, so but I'm getting performance as less performance and resources. But if I want more security, so my ViewNet script is actually giving me that. But the problem there is, the performance and resources are actually being compromised. But this is an old one, by the way. Okay, a 2018 backstory. So here is a new benchmark. Also, he has given 2020 recently. This month only, September 8 only, he kept it. And so here also he's trying to consume. He's also trying to keep something, but the end results will try to look in there and what he's trying to tell. So here it is. But here actually he tried to embed something which is auto MTU and versus auto MTU versus customized MTU, both also. Now here, he has included certain more, probably at least like Andrea, okay, and especially that one, Cilium also. Now here, okay, so which one we want again? So configuration is good. Which one is good? So Calico, if you go for, you require some manual configuration. So that means if I just go back to the okay, so it actually Calico is actually giving custom MTU. It is giving more response than your auto MTU. That is a problem, Calico. That is the only problem you see. And even everyone, in fact, even ViewNet also, that everyone, okay, custom MTU is actually giving, better results. So that's where Calico and Canal, you might require to go for manual. So, but Andrea is actually going to be some config is auto is also is okay, and the Flannel is also okay. Okay. Now, whereas the next one is actually going to be is pod to pod. Pod to pod actually communication, TCP and UDP is very fast, and Flannel also is very fast. It's basically, let's compare Andrea and Calico and Flannel majorly, or ViewNet also. So yeah, and this is very fast, very fast, and very fast, and very fast. Now pod to service, pod talking to a service. So in that case, Andrea is actually UDP, it is slow, and Calico is very fast in case of TCP, and the UDP is it's little this one, and whereas Flannel both are very fast. Okay, and ViewNet actually is going to be very fast and fast. And whereas the resource consumption pod to pod, in the case of pod to pod, so the resource consumption is low. Okay, and here it is Calico is very low and pod to serve is also very low, and flannel is also kind of a very low, and VNet is low. And whereas network policy is basically, network policy supports, who supports network policy? Flannel doesn't support network policy. You know the network policy, right? You block certain traffic coming in, going out, and things like that. Whereas Calico supports it, okay, and so but flannel does not support it, and Antria supports it. And ultimately, so the next one is encryption. So encryption, okay, so encryption time, you have activation anytime you can do, and as well as it is very fast. In the overall, the latest, the latest, even the results, so even if you keep auto also, if you want little bit performance, okay, the manual, auto to manual you can do, so some custom value, and you can achieve that. But overall, if you take the overall one, so who is actually the winner is almost here is Calico is a winner. So ultimately, so if you are looking in a very generic way, not in a very particular way, okay, then Calico is the traffic, Calico is the solution basically. Calico is the solution, okay, and that is where so most of the people goes with Calico, okay. And even our EKS cluster also have some problems. EKS cluster also have some problems. See, I take so many nodes, okay, or I take a node like let's say with the big capacity, I want to run 100 pods, it will not run. That is a problem, okay. So why? Because every pod actually is going to be a virtual IP in Amazon, and that is where so that is where the IP limitations comes into picture per node. Okay, so uh, so AWS EC2 instances and the network EC2 instances, um, virtual IPs. No, I'm not searching in a right way, but yeah, here is a list. Now, if you go for, let's say we are using T series all the time. So if I go for T series, so the T series is giving the network of, you see this, let's say T3 medium I'm using. So T3 medium is actually going to give you maximum of 3 network interfaces you can attach, and width of 6 IPv4 addresses. So that means 6 per interface. So that means 6 into 3, 18. So 18, and 1 IP goes for the node, and that is where 17 pods only you can run at max on this node. Even though my T2 medium, like let's say I use small core kind of thing, I want to run so many pods, it's not possible. The maximum number of pods, every pod is actually going to be an IP address. It's going to consume in the VPC layer, and it's trying to create a virtual IP, and that particular virtual IP maximum is here 18, and one goes to the node out of that, and that means 17 IPs is max I can use. If I go for large instance, they're providing 12, and 3 into 12, 36 minus 1, which is 35, is the maximum pods I can run here. Even though more I want to run, I cannot run. So that is where the limitation comes, because EKS cluster by default will go for EKS cluster by default will go for so the plugin which is AWS VPC CNI. So this is the plugin which Kubernetes which EKS is going to use. So we are going to modify this. All right. So that is where okay. So we'll talk about in the next session. Okay. So how to upgrade our cluster to a separate network and how to start using it. And probably in someone in the interviews will ask you what is the recent one issue you faced generally, right? So that means you can tell this issue basically. Okay. So we started with EKS cluster, and so we have found that it is using the VPC plugin, and it has its own limitations basically on the IPs. So so probably so I went through certain things and I found out so I can change the plugin. So that's where I looked into so which plugin provides the maximum response, okay, good response of the things, and I have done it through okay, so this process so which actually using the same instances I can run more pods kind of thing, you can say. Okay, so something we'll talk about that. So that's what is the idea for next session. At least I will I will try to make it um, that Kuberium cluster. Okay, so it's been a long time, it's been a week almost. So yeah, I will take a look on that, and probably on Monday we'll see this, and then we'll get on to the Helm charts. So we'll complete the Helm charts with the Prometheus monitoring, and then we'll mostly done with the sessions. So that's the idea. Okay, so that's all from my side for today. Any questions? Okay. All right, so we'll continue in Monday. So that's the scope for Monday, and we'll continue from there. Okay, thank you. See you tomorrow. See you on Monday. Bye. Good day. Good night.